And also, if you're cruel enough to separate two destined lovers from each other in a competitive game of League of Legends, that is, that's the important question here.
Will H2K be the ones to separate the lovers?
But really, we've memed about the Zyrakan OTP enough.
We have.
We have to remember that these are incredibly high stakes for both of these teams.
For
that
sure.
Being at the top of your group at the end of the season means getting a bye. And for H2K, a team that was eliminated in quarterfinals last season, that could be everything. And they decide to take the Rakan away. They are not taking any risks here. They say the Xayah damage was not the issue. It was Hylissang, as you noted, Vedius, who's able to play these flashy champions, engaging so consistently.
And it is a very difficult engage to stop, especially when you have a Shen on top of it. And we already know that Unicorns were guaranteed to lock that first. Not only do they deny it from Odo, but you get a good matchup for Chachi, and you also set up for so many great engages if Unicorns of Love are looking to go for the Warwick again. Now, what I want to see from H2K is let's get Odo on a carry. Let's give him something that can actually pressure that Shen and make it harder for him to roam around the map and make these kind of plays.
Like a Gangplank?
Like, no, more like a Fiora, the one that he went 10-1 on, that kind of champion.
All right, well, we will see. But for now, interesting, one of the few series where we see Syndra allowed through and given over to Febiven. Very surprising. Now, it did have decent impact last game, but was not able to outmatch the absurd amount of gold that UOL were able to accumulate early on.
Oh, I was about to say, I wonder if Unicorns will go for Xayah and Tahm Kench. But instead, they're going to go for the submarine that Unicorns, or that H2K rather, decided to go for in game 1. And, okay, so Unicorns, they've decided to draft the Vladimir. Not only is this a pick that Exile actually brought out a lot during summer of last year, and it's just something that he's very comfortable on, but it is a good answer to the Syndra as well. It mitigates a lot of her burst, and during the laning phase, he actually trades with her fairly evenly. So I think that it is a comfortable pick. But it could be hard for Unicorns to then get a favorable support matchup, given that H2K can ban those out.
Ooh, and you wanted an aggressive carry
wow.
on the top side of the map. Kennen has been banned pretty consistently throughout the course of this series, but was left open and available. We may have missed it, but H2K did not. Could be the 80 carry for Nuclear. We could test the old adage, Reckless is the only man who can play Kennen 80 carry, or we could see it into the hands of Odoamne, but either way, that's a pretty explosive pick.
And now if you're H2K, you just ban away Braum and Tahm Kench. Two of the strongest supports as answer to the Thresh. Not only that, they're also very comfort champions for Hylissang to play, and you also make things difficult then for Twitch to have a healthy laning phase, because no matter what you pull with the Thresh, there's going to be a lot of kill threat in the bottom. And
when we look at this team composition, it feels like Unicorns of Love just continue to put their eggs in the Samix basket. And it's not just a birthday thing, right? Obviously, it's this team has been getting more and more proficient about playing around him. When he first joined the LCS, it was the Ivern with the Caitlyn and these kind of protect the Caitlyn compositions. But now with the Twitch in his hands, we have to expect big plays coming in from this guy. And interesting enough, it's not the Tahm Kench that's banned out here, Vedius. It's the Warwick taken away from Xerxes.
Respect, but this will leave Ivern open unless H2K choose to take it themselves. Right now, what they are lacking is kind of a tank frontline, and you can mitigate that by picking an Ivern and turning whoever you want into that tank frontline. Not only would it deny it away from the Unicorns of Love, but then we're really starting to limit the champion pool of Xerxes, because even his Rumble jungle is gone, he can't play Zac.
Even his Rumble jungle is
But now, like, a part of me feels like we could see a Sejuani here. I just feel like he's the kind of guy to play jungle Sejuani in the current meta.
We'll see if your feelings are correct. Ivern now locked in by Jankos. We'll see who he wants to set up for success. Happy birthday to Samix, as you can hear from our audience. Oh, okay. Well, things are heating up here. Happy birthday to you, Samix. You now get to play in a Twitch Blitzcrank lane with a Rengar jungle. Vedius, you wanted a submarine. Let me talk to you about the double submarine. We got a Rengar to hand deliver the Shen in the background. We got a Twitch to deliver him as well. And H2K, they're going to want to throw out some depth charges here. They're going to want to bring these guys to the surface if possible. And it looks like Varus is the decision here, which means that's going to be a Kennen on the top side of the map. And H2K, they're going to rely on that Ivern turning someone into a tank, as we talked about earlier, because they do not have one on the lineup.
So I'm a little skeptical about the Blitzcrank, largely because you're automatically conceding your 2 versus 2 lane. You don't normally win your matchup when you're playing Twitch as is, but you can compensate for that by picking up a powerful support. And they choose to pick Blitzcrank, who offers no wave clear, good pick potential, But if you hook in a Thresh, like, that's not really the optimal target. So I feel like it's risky. There's a huge element of risk. But given that you do have the Shen, at the very least around level 6, there's a big opportunity for you to try and make plays up and down the bottom half of the map.
And we have to respect it, right? Because on the one hand, there's a lot of potential for disaster with this Blitzcrank. You can hook in a Thresh, you can hook in a Daisy, you can hook in a Kennen, who was happy to ult in the middle of your team. On the other hand, you can hook in that Syndra, you can hook in that Varus. So we're going to have to see how accurate Hylissang can be in this game. Vetti's Game 1, Game 2, some similarities. Game 3, completely different for both sides. Last chance, folks, at LOL Esports on Twitter. Hashtag UOL win, hashtag H2K win. Who will be the only undefeated team in this group?
So many questions, and only time will tell, as we do see Kennen getting through the draft. Over in the LCK, that is a terrifying pick. And in the hands of Odoamne, can he bring that same kind of terror as both top laners continue to bash heads?
Here it is, folks. One final game to decide it. Who will be the king of Group B? Game 3, Unicorns of Love on the blue, H2K on the red. Matchups in every lane that require our attention. The mid lane, Exile and Febivin. Consistently duking it out, consistently favoring Febivin, but the bottom lane in favor of H2 or UOL, and the top lane we will now see can Vizicachi go toe-to-toe with Odoamne.
And that's fun and everything, Draco's, but level 1, level 1, level 1. Let's see a level 1 play from the Unicorns of Love. We have the Blitzcrank. It is the solo queue special. Where will Hylissang go? He goes wide. Close, though. He was close.
30 seconds until minions.
What? I started listening to the Unicorns of Love fans for a second. I come back, you're like, he was really close to hitting that hook.
You've got to be optimistic. You've got to encourage your Blitzcranks, you know? When they miss that hook, you'll be like, don't worry, dude. Get him next time. You've got it.
Wow, you
I
play
believe
a
in you.
very different game of League of Legends than I do.
You got to be encouraging. Support your fellow summoners. And when you miss that first hook, it can be a little demoralizing. But I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to seeing what Hylissang can do. He's had 2 fantastic Rakan games. Now he's taking a bit of a gamble, going for the Blitzcrank into the Varus Thresh. That is going to be a very rough matchup. So much wave clear, a lot of kill threat. And it's a big gamble. But so far, Samex and Hylissang have been the ones to come out ahead in the 2 versus 2 throughout this series.
And Vedius, when we talked about this, a lot of team fighting presence in Game 1, a lot of team fights in Game 2. But what is this game going to be about? Because I see a lot of different things going on with these compositions.
Well, there's a lot, right? Because if we focus down onto the Unicorns of Love composition, fundamentally, there's a lot of team fight power later into the game, but there's also a lot of room to split push. The big issue that you're going to have is Twitch does not have the strongest wave clear. So playing a 1-3-1 is not the optimal setup unless your Vladimir or your Shen is so far ahead that H2K cannot answer. Now for H2K, they have a lot of pick power, but they too also have a lot of teamfight strength with the Varus, with the Ivan, with the Kennen. But where they can truly optimize themselves is if they can get this Kennen ahead, if they can start Odoamne snowballing and prevent Chachi from being able to get involved in the other lanes across the map. That is where H2K can really build up this sign lane threat the Unicorns won't be able to answer.
The interesting thing, too, is we've seen 2 mid lane matchups that have not looked great for Exile. Some very close calls in Game 2, some very unfortunate circumstances as H2K just constantly camped the mid lane in Game 1. But something we heard from Sven, Exile is great at these champions like the Vladimir, where he can be up in your face without fear, where he can just play so aggressive. And you can see him now up against Febivin. He is absolutely fearless in these trades.
But Che again.
Pool should be available now that he is level 3. If that had come any later on the level 3, Exile very well could have died in that exchange.
Getting that pool. I have seen some Vladimirs actually take pool at level 2, and against a player like Che who looks for these early roams, it could have been an opportunity. But regardless, Exile, he's prioritizing pressuring Febivin out. Looking a little bit more at this matchup.
Ooh, nice stun. Tower shot goes in. Pool out to safety. Ivern on the way mid as well. Exile has to respect this, but he can't just walk to the top side. Throws down a ward, Jankos. Caution ping's coming out. Not sure if he's spotted or if it's the 6th sense of Cersei in the jungle letting him know. Shay has to be careful. Stuns himself whenever he does that hook animation. Is vulnerable to Hylissang. And Vedius, this is the thing about Game 3. is I feel like nothing's going to happen till level 6
Yeah.
again, but I'm not convinced even in the slightest because even a single kill makes such a big difference here for either of these teams.
Oh, it really does. And whoever can get that early lead, we've seen both of these teams' ability to snowball just the slightest of advantages. That's what makes them so exciting to watch. This is why these two teams are the top of Group B. And while there are a lot of individual standout performers, like this series in particular, I've been looking at Samex, Febiven as well, the teams as a whole have just been playing very well. It seems like communication has been on point as Enkos
knocked back. Nice timing on the blast cone to get himself out. Very risky. He could have taken the Rengar with him. But without the Daisy there to back him up in the fights, Yanko's pretty vulnerable to those ganks. Still going to heal up. Look to set his sights on the top lane. Is spotted out on the ward. Vizicachi, though, ever the actor, is just going to keep moving forward in the lane, wasting time there for Yankos.
Now, this is actually really interesting from Chachi. Notice how he's always using the Spirit's Refuge whenever Odoamne has his passive up, which means that that passive on his 5th hit will be able to give him one of the electrical surge charges. And what you can do is you can mitigate that if you actually throw down the Spirit's Refuge, because the basic attack gets nullified. So you actually reduce a lot of the poke and harass damage that Odoamne is able to throw out. Just small little interactions to make that laning phase a little bit healthier for you if you ever find yourself in this kind of a setup.
And you're a bit of an awkward spot here for Vizicachi. Your job is to survive in this laning phase. Not a difficult feat against a Kennen, but luckily for him, Odoamne, aware that he doesn't have all the kill pressure in the world right now, has opted for the early call. Exile in trouble. Does heal up a little bit here. Febiven has the overstayed his welcome. First blood for Febiven. The cleanse to close it out. Nice plays coming in.
And Exile. So many mixed performances this series. The hook does land.
Well, saying maybe looking to land the hook here. Rengar is on the way. Level 5. But as you rightly said, Vetty, as we look back at the mid lane, Febiven has been outclassing Exile in every one of these games.
And while Exile, he did have a good Taliyah game. I was impressed with quite a few of his walls and the way that he was playing a lot of these team fights. Like, game 1, yes, he did get camped, but also he made a lot of greedy plays, and it just, to me, feels like that was another one. He saw Febiven getting low on HP, and he thought, I can win this 1v1 once I get the health back from my Q. But he doesn't respect that his E reduces his own health, which then gives Febiven enough damage to be able to get the 1v1 kill and will get him the early level 6. And a Syndra is not the sort of champion you can afford to be giving these early kills to because of how snowbally she can be, especially during the early game.
Now, admittedly, Vladimir can opt to itemize a little bit of magic resist, Spirit Visage, or something of the like in the early laning phase. Maybe can mitigate it, but you're right. Even if Vladimir is safe, if that Syndra is fed, it does not mean that your Twitch is safe. It does not mean that your Shen or your Rengar are safe. You have to respect the potential for this character to just kill anybody.
Yep. Completely agree with you. There is nothing more annoying than your mid laner being like, guys, it's fine. Syndra can't kill me anymore. Like, great for you. I'm a Twitch.
Syndra, Zed, whatever it is, you don't want to deal with it. Well, luckily for now, it's still contained in the mid lane. Vladimir's still matching the pressure of Syndra. So things aren't off to too terrible of a start, but can't afford any more small mistakes.
And now Mountain Drake is the first on the board. We've seen a lot of clouds and oceans, and this time this could be a bigger point of contention for both these teams because it will greatly help in terms of your ability to siege and take down these objectives. Now, for the Unicorns of Love, their sieging is not the strongest, largely because Samex has a pretty short range on the Twitch, and so every time he gets near to that tower, there's always the risk of this Syndra stun hitting you in the face that you always have to respect. So for Unicorns of Love to really siege, they need to be able to get themselves a pick, or find H2K out of position where they can then rush down that tower, and this is why that Mountain Drake will help them so much.
Mountain Drake, though, will not be the focus. Instead, it will be the swap to the top side of the map. Che and Nuclear happy to move forward there. A red buff is available courtesy of the Ivern. Neither Kennen nor the Varus are going to opt to take it, however. It'll just be the constant pressure here on Vizicachi. Twitch has figured out that the game is afoot. They may be aware the bot lane is on the top side, but Exile is in trouble once again, trying to move forward. Pool saves his life, but risky gambit there for Exile. Febiven burns all his mana in the exchange, however.
And that is one of the reasons as to why Vladimir does well into the Syndra. But Chachi, he's also reading the map right now. He realizes what's going on. And interestingly, Unicorns of Love, they're actually trying to respond, even with the Ivern on the top side of the map. I think they're a little bit slow on the play. But Chachi is moving in a way that makes H2K a little bit too wary to continue sieging.
Samix running forward, looking to hand deliver it, but the cannon is moving forward. Lots of damage coming out. Vizichachi is taken down. Twitch is spraying and praying and trying to get something, but out they go. Lantern saves the day. Samix and Hillisang are going to have to back off this tower because there are too many members of H2K. Jay flashes forward. Hook connects. That's the play. H2K needed. Big lead coming in.
Beautiful dive coming out from H2K. They saw that Chachi had just overextended, and they knew that if the bottom lane of UOL turned up, what is a Blitzcrank gonna do? He can't peel, he can't save you. Sure, hook the cannon into your team. I don't care. H2K fully aware that this Blitzcrank play is not gonna be a threat to them as they dive onto the tower and get themselves an
And
enemy.
these games just get faster and faster. Betty is Exile now in trouble. Rooted up, Rukon not going to be able to be completed in the end, but so much pressure coming down. 2K gold lead for H2K before 10 minutes, and we'll watch this one more time.
And perhaps I'm being a little harsh, but in this scenario, what is a Blitzcrank going to do? You're in a 3 versus 4. UOL do not respect the possibility of Jankos being around. And it was just a really good dive from H2K. They know about the Shen, they move to the top side of the map at level 6 to avoid that all-in play. And UOL, rather than trying to trade towers, they decide to try and hold on to their own tower and give 3 early kills over to the side of UOL.
In the end, tower still falls. Just such a brutal position to be in, and we can see these guys are the big playmakers. Hillisang, Che, the men on your screen. Massive difference in their matchups in the previous game. It was all about Hillisang on the Rakan. This time around, though, the Thresh is already off to a fantastic start. So look at game 3, and H2K just want to continue this sieging pattern. Oh, Blitzcrank hooked up, so much damage goes on to him. The Shen on the way in. Can they kill him before the Shen connects? Now pulled back in. Vizichachi, they're trying to burn through Otawamne, and they're making it look easy. Samix is hungry for blood. He's already gotten 1. Rangar's already gotten 1 as well, so he's going to walk back in the bush. Will leap back out, looking for the extra stack of ferocity. Going to connect 1, going to connect 2. Damage keeps on coming. Spirit's Refuge not going to save the day, however. Still trading back and forth as Exile and Fevivin look to fight in the mid lane. Scatter the Weak comes out. There's the ball. Now he's moving forward. Ultimate goes in. Exile's still alive, but Fevivin has the damage.
Outclassed once again by H2K's mid laner as he picks up a solo kill. But Unicorns of Love, they answer with plays down bottom lane. And
Flash it! Got it connected. That is such a strong engage coming in from Vizichachi. Man, what explosive play from both sides.
UOL, they just continue with the aggression. They realize things did not work out the way they wanted in the top lane. They have to find something back, and they do. They do not take their foot off the pedal. They're constantly looking for avenues back into the game, and they find them. 4 kills to 5 right now. Gold still heavily in favor of the Unicorns of Love.
And with this Twitch pick, we said Unicorns of Love put their faith in Samix, and rightfully so. 3-1-1 in this game. He is the bastion of hope for Unicorns of Love fans, because things aren't going great, but he is bringing them back into this game.
So in this instance, if you focus the Blitzcrank, he actually gets a really big multi-man silence off, and he lands a good hook underneath the tower. That is where the Blitzcrank can be very effective, as long as the rest of Unicorns of Love are ready to follow up. And as a team, they always are. Now, Zusei could have gone out of that, but instead he chooses to sacrifice his life in order to get Samix another kill, which arguably is definitely worth it if you can get this AD carry rolling. And bear in mind, that Twitch is now 3-1-1, primed and ready to get that very early Blade of the Ruin King in order to get the game going.
And the gold lead does not matter. Unicorns of Love starting to even it up. Only 1K the difference between them now after that exchange of plays. Even if Exile loses the 1v1 in the mid lane, Unicorns of Love are still fighting back. A little more defense from Exile as well. Maybe he can just keep Fevivin contained, can keep farming up, stop dying in the mid lane, and let the rest of his team make the plays, but we'll see. Maybe he can still find those outplay opportunities if there are any to be taken.
We do need Exile to stop dying. I mean, props to Fevivin. He is playing this matchup very well, but I feel like a large part of it is Exile trying too hard to win his lane.
But we have to praise Fevivin for playing so consistently as well. This man has been a monster this series.
I don't want to take anything away from him because he is punishing these mistakes very effectively, but it is also, I feel, like big mistakes that Exile is making and just not respecting Fevivin. 2-0-0 right now. Morellonomicon completed. Just the item that you need for Vladimir because of the Grievous Wounds that it applies once you drop below a certain percentage of health. And I feel like that come the rest of this game, Fevivin is going to be one of the big determining factors. As a hook,
Ooh,
just misses.
Flash comes out. Che giving the respect over to Hillisang. Samix maybe hoping to be the submarine. Stand United is available, but for now we'll just settle for an attack speed steroid and a push. But that's the hook going to connect. Hillisang not going to flash it out in the end, and he's trapped under tower, but now trying to flash to safety. Bars cooldowns have been nerfed. We have a 1v1 on the top side of the map. Odoamne dishing out so much damage. Spirit's Refuge going to keep him safe for now. Hillisang sniped out. Let's go back to the 1v1 exchange because Vizichachi's getting a kill as well. Or get killed as well. Xerxes now running for his life. Folks, it's an absolute bloodbath. I don't even know what to say about it.
At the start of the day, Xerxes said, I want a bloodbath against H2K, but I don't think this is what he wanted as Febiven.
Holding on for hope, backing off in the end. 4-8 the kill score. That was so good for H2K.
Everything falling apart for the Unicorns of Love. A 2v2 death down in the bottom lane. A 1v1 death in the top. And Exile getting forced back. Just look at the influx of gold going towards H2K. Just think back to what we were talking about earlier on in the day, or earlier on at the beginning of this game rather. Odoamne, if he gets ahead of Chachi, he becomes a split push threat that no one can answer. The fact that Febiven has been consistently outperforming Exile means that he's had continuous pressure mids. And we've talked at length about this Blitzcrank and how I think it's risky. Hillisang played that far too aggressively. He wanted to try and make the dive happen with Xerxes, but they didn't have the minion wave to set it up. And I feel like there was just an element of a communication breakdown there as H2K just find an answer to everything.
It's just insane because we see good performances in so many instances from so many different players, but this game, Che is just coming in clutch. It's not just Odoamne, it's not just Febiven. Che is mitigating so much of the strength that Unicorns of Love bot lane have shown us. And small mistakes like that Shadow Dash just costing so much as we get later into the game.
Things are looking extremely bright if you are H2K fan. But here comes Sax.
Gonna get a little bit of damage down on the Febiven, but there's Odoamne waiting off to the side. Febiven is now in trouble. Cleanse is up, hitting damage onto Hillisang. The Shen is coming in as well. This is a fight for the Unicorns of Love. One good damage comes in from the Vladimir, but the ult has been used by the Kennen. He does get taken down in the end. Twitch is on the backside trying to dish out the damage, but Nuclear is just as strong right now, and he's looking to take out Vizichachi. The arrow comes in. That's the double kill for the Bars. Samix now running. Tail between his legs, has to hope that Xerxes can get out as well. Throws down the Venom Cask, wants to keep the fight rolling. Hail of Arrows not going to connect. It's a back off in the end. H2K still take the fight.
But this is a classic Unicorns of Love. They're down in gold, they're down in kills, and they say, we're going to fight. We're going to try something anyway. We see Febiven in the middle lane, not even that overextended. He still has all of his summoner spells available. Samix just moves up saying, you know what? We have the damage to kill you. We have a Shen ready and waiting. But Hillisang dies too fast, and he's left alone. Chachi is just left alone at the front of the fight. Too many members die on the side of UOL that there's not enough follow-up to be able to kill the rest of the H2K members. But the fact that they're able to get 2 kills for 3 is still a positive thing for the side of the Unicorns of Love, because they're getting a little bit of gold back, and they're continuing.
Hillisang gets the hook. Just so clean on the Blitzcrank. Febiven now running for his life. Good damage comes in from Exile, but the tower is being tanked. Odoamne now going to try to pick up Exile on the back half. He has to run back to the turret. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. Heals up. Odoamne takes him down.
Man. End up trading another 1-for-1. The skirmishes continue between the two top contenders of Group B. The Mandrake finally goes down. And this is a fun final game. This is what we wanted. Both these teams just butting heads over and over and over again. Unicorns refusing to go down without a fight. H2K continuing to push the advantages that they have. And right now it is still the H2K game show. They are still the ones deciding all the questions, getting everything they want going in their way. And it is Unicorns of Love having to find avenues back to regain some control.
And really when we look at it, H2K finally keeping up in team fighting as well in this game. A lot of potentially even exchanges that they turn in their favor, utilizing the gold advantage that they have. And when we look across, we talk so much about the top side of the map, but it's the bottom laners who are coming in clutch. It is Che and Hillisang making the plays. It is Samix and Nuclear dishing out the damage. 4-1-2, 5-1-2, the respective scorelines here.
Really good to see both AD carries stepping up because, you know, we have to say that Samix was considered one of the weaker points of the Unicorns of Love in spring. And now we have nothing but praise for him as Chachi's in trouble.
Stun coming in. Spirit Refuge buys a little bit of time, but it may not be enough. Ivern's on the way as well. Vizichachi set to fall. Trigger Seed. It's going to stop him from going anywhere, and that's yet another kill for H2K as Odoamne walks it down.
The power of Cannon. He's got the blade completed, working towards the Runans. Hillisang trying to get something back, but H2K showing much more respect towards the Blitzcrank.
You can see H2K just in control of this game. The gold graph tells us the story of this 4K lead. Unicorns will love fighting back in a few instances, but it's just getting worse and worse here as the cannon gets more and more out of control.
And bear in mind, H2K, they don't really need to group up and fight 5v5 anymore. All they have to do is keep this cannon off onto a side lane because he has 3,400 more gold than his top lane counterpart. 2 levels above. Right now, though, they're trying to kill him.
Not going to be enough for him to fight 2 champions, though. Stun does go down on one running for his life. Vizichachi going to pick that one up. Nice punish coming in from the Unicorns of Love.
The Battle of the Ninjas. Chachi was tired of losing it, so he called for his combat cat to come give him an assist. And now H2K, they want to go for a collapse.
Moving forward, Xerxes in trouble. Knife Cat trying to find his way to safety. Daisy coming in, and Vizichachi now running for his life. Hook comes over the wall from Che. The chain CC goes in, and that is yet another death for Vizichachi.
And now a 4-man unit of H2K grouped up in the bottom lane. They used a fair number of ultimates, so they don't want to continue the commit. So instead, they're just going to disengage as Exile.
Protobelt available, ult available, Flash, Storm Raider Surge. He can leap into the backline, but he thinks better of it. Not going to take the risk this time.
Yeah, he is alone as well, so he just has to realize that there would no be substantial follow-up. Instead, just back away, trade the 1-for-1. H2K still heavily in control of the map. Bear in mind that mid lane tower still not fallen. They still have so much pressure thanks to that objective, and this is where we see Odo just sticking around a little bit too long. The rest of his team weren't in a position to continue on with the pressure, and that resulted in Unicorns of Love being able to get themselves a kill.
Bit of an awkward spot, flashing, and the Rengar just gets to follow. He flashes into the brush and just leaps down on top of you. No ult available means he can't really peel for himself either. Maybe a powerful cannon, but it's still a vulnerable cannon.
And what Unicorns of Love, I feel, need to do now is, it's kind of like a Fnatic special, where they actually send Samux, rather than coming into the mid lane looking for a pick, you actually send him to the cannon. You use him to try and get a pick off onto this side lane so that pressure is relieved from Chachi, but also you're shutting down one of the big gold leaders on the side of H2K, because bear in mind, the majority of this gold deficit is just because of the 2 top laners. We just saw the gold difference. And if you can shut him down, if you can catch him unawares just by using Samux in this lane, that could be a way for Unicorns of Love to just find answers back to regain control.
And we look at it, without both the Kennen and the Varus present, this is not a great team at killing the Baron, so maybe taking that risk won't even cost them something on the other side of the map, because Ivern just not a threat to that Baron. Syndra similarly does good damage, but it's nothing compared to a lot of other junglers.
Yep, I agree. What we are seeing there is hook.
Goes in, Daisy on the way, we can hear Thrill of the Hunt being used. Now going to hook chain forward. The Exile in trouble, does move out, but there's so much happening on the backside. Kennen is the one in trouble. Exile does manage to make it out, but the fight keeps on moving. Vizichachi moves back, trying to hold on to his life. Flash forward from Nuclear, though. That means he's going to be dominating. Now moving back, H2K find a single pick. Hillisang hoping to find a hook, but he's not going to get it.
H2K, they are the ones that end up getting initiated onto, but because the target is an Ivern, he has a lot of sustain, he has a lot of shielding as they've been forced to flash from the hook. Now, H2K, they move towards the Baron. They want to properly set up the 1-3-1. You're well, they're forced to answer. Spray and Pray still available.
Keep your eyes on it. Where's it going to go? Chain not going to find the hook. Hillisang moving forward. H2K backing off. They want Unicorns to love to fight them. Hook not going to connect. Baron getting lower, has not reset yet. 2K dropping lower. There he goes on Exile, leaping forward, wants to get a little bit more. Hillisang trying to find the hook. Not gonna get it quite yet. Samix dishing out so much damage. That's 2 kills. Baron resetting, but Unicorns of Love, they've got it in their sights. Exile says, I may not have had the laning phase, but now is my time.
And Samux comes up huge. The Spray and Pray was still available. H2K were too hesitant to commit to the Baron, and as they retreat, Samux unloads. He eviscerates H2K, and they've come back into the game with an ace and the Baron.
Ramah, arms wide, unicorn plushie in his hand, has to be feeling proud of the boys. Sheepy in a similar state. What a turnaround from the Unicorns of Love lineup.
And just keep your eyes on what Exile does, because this is great. He draws so much attention away from Samux, and he is just doing so much damage. Featherman gets as much damage down as he can, but it is not enough. The shielding coming out from from nowhere. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have anything. There's just not enough damage. And it was just such good positioning from the side of the Unicorns of Love. Jankos ends up getting cleaned up at the very end. And I said it was an ace. Nuclear did get away with his life, but it doesn't matter. It felt like it to me.
And Vedius, instantly an even game again. H2K had a massive lead. And now we're going to see Unicorns of Love may be able to find a lead here with this Baron buff. Can finally look to break down this first tier mid tower, maybe even more. And of course, Kennen's still stronger than the Shen, but it may not matter in the fights to come.
You can just see the amount of damage that H2K have been able to do is
Hylissang. Gonna get picked off here. Survives much longer than expected, but H2K, that's gonna slow down Unicorns in their tracks. Will make it harder for them to get anything with this Baron.
But this is very good for H2K. They need to buy time right now because as long as the Baron buff is up, Urwell can have the siege advantage. They are in a position where H2K can't look to try and make anything around the map, but when they have the numbers advantage, it goes back in the court of H2K. And so they need to keep trying to find these picks. They need to find people who are just slightly out of position so that they can get some gold back on the board and then really force a fight when they have the numbers advantage.
And when we look at it, if nothing else happens during the duration of this Baron, H2K will maintain the gold lead.
Exactly.
Now, it's a good spot to be, but Unicorns of Love not going to let it happen easily. Exile and Samix absolutely threats that you have to respect. Which with a little bit of MR in the form of the QSS.
And I'm impressed that H2K has still been able to hold on to this mid-tier 1. 25.5 minutes into the game, still not dropped. But just look at how much more free farm Chachi is getting as a hook comes through.
Not going to connect, however, but you have to keep your eyes on these hook champions. You have to keep your eyes on the Twitch as well. Spray and Pray can decide everything in the next fight. Good engagement on the Exile, takes a bit of damage. Ottawamne moving forward, hoping to chain the CC together. Going to force the pool at some point. Out comes the Rengar ultimate. Exile wants to keep this going. Now leaving for a little bit more. Down comes the damage, but Ottawamne pulled out of the fight and removed as a problem. Vladimir all going to pop, but no one's going to drop in the end. Unicorns of Love now going to be able to break down the tier 1 tower. Will the fight continue?
And you're seeing how hard it is for H2K to kill the Unicorns of Love when they're grouped up as a 5-man unit. H2K wanted to be playing all 3 lanes. They needed to keep this Unicorns of Love squad separated. Keep the pressure onto Chachi so that he cannot ulti in. And even though Exile gets chunked down to no HP, Shen ultimate, the lifesteal.
Flash forward, that's a bit of revenge.
Exactly that. Finally, he gets some redemption as Unicorns of Love are making their way to the inhibitor.
Now moving forward, Cersei just has his sights set on the tower, and now he's going to look to kill Jankos as well. Hylissang coming in, not going to be able to get the Lantern. Yes, he is! Nice escape, but there's Exile. Has not strayed too far. Unicorns of Love looking to break open the inhibitor. What was once an H2K favored game has fallen apart. Unicorns of Love take control.
And it's so reminiscent of H2K making these late game calls. They got 1 pick onto the Unicorns of Love, and they decided that was good enough for them to go for a Baron play. There was so much risk associated with it that they did not take into consideration. And it was everything that the Unicorns needed to set up for what is now an extremely strong team fight comp. That Twitch is 6-1 and 4. His damage is unanswerable for H2K because who's going to be diving onto that backline? Sure, Odo comes in, but then he's just getting hooked away every time he gets close.
And the thing we have to remember about that Baron too is that Unleashed Power, the Syndra ultimate, maybe your one get out of jail free card when it comes to this late game scaling Twitch, a way to eliminate him wasn't available, wasn't enough in a fight. And if you can't kill that Twitch, let's be honest, you're doomed.
Yep.
You cannot win that fight. We have seen that in every game that Twitch has been picked. If you let this champion get the late game and you cannot delete him immediately, things just fall apart.
But again, Ottawamne, he's now off onto a side lane. Very little to no armor completed for Chachi. Means that he still cannot go toe-to-toe with the Lightning Rat.
Awkward position too, with the Knight's Vow. Not sure who he's paired with currently. Oh, it looks like Samix.
Yeah, almost
but without
Samix,
being near Samix, will not get a lot of those stats. And Vedius, we look back. Ottawamne struck back so well in this game.
Oh, Nuclear, you better run, because they're coming. They're coming.
Has to back out. Cersei hungry for blood, but not that hungry. Does not want to risk jumping to 3 members. He is not a fed Rengar, even if he has been a playmaker for the team. Now Samix is moving forward.
Here we go.
Going in onto Yankos. Yankos potentially in trouble. Root Caller does connect. Should be okay, but everything's going to be burned. Now pulled back into the team. It's the cannon who's caught out. Surprise! Unicorns now want to break open that inhibitor. They already got the tower. Now they just want to make some super minions in their favor, but Samix just continues to wait on the wings, to look on the outside, to try to find the flanks.
And we've talked so much about this man, but we have to do it again because Samix is playing out of his mind. Going invisible to force pressure down onto Yankos for Hylissang to land another hook.
Over the wall. Bye-bye, Shay. Gonna try to walk back through, but it is not enough. Now they have to run for their life, but the Twitch does use the QSS, and he's able to consistently dish out the damage. Nuclear not able to respond despite the strength of the AD carry. It's Otawamne who is locked up. It is Vizichaji with the flash taunt. It is Bevavin now running for his life. The scatter of the week comes out to delay what could just be the inevitable. Poison ticking. Bevavin running. Is going to make it out in the end, but Unicorns of Love just so aggressive.
And they don't take too much from it. They're going to be happy with the kills, back away to base, and not make the same kind of mistake that H2K did earlier on. This is just a recap of what happened. Hylissang saying, you know what? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for the fight. And bear in mind, look at the positioning of Samix here. Just out of range of the cannon ultimate. He did get rooted up, but who is the threat on H2K? Who is threatening Samix's life? Because it's not Bevavin. Odo cannot get anywhere near him, and when there's a Night's Vow and a Shen ulti too, this is the late game Twitch. He is primed and ready, and he is obliterating your line.
Now Unicorns of Love, not only do they have an inhibitor broken down, not only do they have a massive wave pushing on the bottom side, they are set up to take this Baron. Nice Lantern to save the day. Yanko's been getting caught out a lot this game. Can't afford to get caught out again, and Nuclear, the major damage dealer right now for this team in so many ways, needs to be able to survive in these team fights, and it's just going to be so difficult. It just feels like the Zion Twitch we saw in game 1, Vedius, where it's just, the range is such a huge factor.
And bear in mind, UOL, they're not actually starting the Baron, they're trying to earn themselves an Oscar, just acting around it, trying to bait them in.
And now they've got Daisy, and they may have Yankos. He has to pull back. Taunt it up means it's going to be tough to explain, but Exile takes so much damage. Otawamne does so much in a one-on-one scenario. Flash forward, flash out, teams trading skills. That's going to be the hook onto Vizichaji, not quite what they wanted. They're poking at each other, looking for opportunities. Keep your eyes on Hylissang. He does manage to get Che trying to make it out. Xerxes on the back line. He's looking to kill Nuclear. He knows where the damage is. Keep your eyes on the Rengar. Where's he going to go? It may not matter, but Samix, will he drop down? In goes Xerxes. Nuclear is going to get taken down. That's what they want. Samix, he sees his opportunity. He starts to unload the damage. He's there to back up the fight. This is domination. This is the Unicorns of Love. They're going to take the fight. They're going to take the ace, and they may just take the series.
Unicorns of Love, they only lose their mid laner, but they're going to gain so much more as they make their way to the top of Group B and dismantle H2K.
And we look at that last fight, it was beautiful execution, it was patience. They find the hook, they find the flank, and just when the timing is right, Samix starts to dish out the damage. He starts to clean up the fight, and it is redemption for Exile. It is the win coming in for Unicorns of Love, and at the end of the day, they are uncontested at the top of Group B. Just a funeral pyre for Che as they burn down the base. They make it look all too easy. That's the win for Unicorns of Love. (2-1) victory in the end. We have to praise H2K, closer in so many ways than it was in the spring season, but still not enough. And Unicorns of Love continue to be a team that you cannot give any window of opportunity to.
No, not at all. My words. H2K, this game was so in their control. They had like a 4 or 5k gold lead at one point when Odo was dismantling Chachi. Cannon on the side lane was just becoming a monster. That mid lane, Bevavin, was 2-0-0. He got 2 solo kills down onto Exile. Everything was looking good until it just came down to the Baron, and the Unicorns, they stampede.
And it's just such a fantastic performance for the team. I mean, we have to give some credit to H2K as well. We had great performances in Game 1 and Game 3 coming in for Otawamne, but when it mattered most, in Game 3, when it came down to those crucial decision-makings, it was single missteps from H2K. And we saw mistakes from Unicorns in that game as well, but their mistakes were in the early game. They could take those risks. They could find opportunities to come back, but when it came to the Baron, H2K taking the big gambles, and it does not pay off. Unicorns of Love, undefeated in series so far. 6-1 in games.
This really was a battle of the 80 carries. You know, we hyped up the top lane matchup. MVP of last split versus arguably the second best, or at least in spring, top laner. You have Jankos versus Cersei, you had Featherman versus Exile. So much hype was surrounding the top half that not a huge amount of attention came down in the bottom lane, but then it was really nuclear. 8-2-4 in that final game. He was playing out of his mind, doing his best to keep his team's hopes alive, but Samix is...
And he's on a Twitch. He's on a Twitch. Not only is Samix playing incredibly well, you could even say that they're playing comparably. You're just, at that point, you're limited by your champion. You do not have the range of a Twitch. You do not have the team fight presence of a Twitch. And look, for Samix, man, that's a happy birthday, if I've ever seen one. That has to feel good. An intense 3-game series, but you win it in the end, and it's on your back that the team is carrying.
Yeah, it was certainly a hard-fought series for both teams. Very, very enjoyable. This is exactly what we wanted, and perhaps maybe not the upset in the same way that it was for Fnatic and G2, but regardless, it was such a great series, and we saw so many great plays too from both sides.
And we like to see kind of the parity in these groups between top teams, and there were game 1 was H2K, let's be clear, cleaning up. Game 2, UOL cleaning up, and game 3 was so close. These are the levels that we want to see from our top teams. This parity, these insane series that just feel so close.
Yeah, it was super, super fun. Still a little skeptical of the Blitzcrank. I mean, it definitely had its moments, landed some good hooks. And what I liked most about it was when Hylissang was able to hook away the cannon from the carries. I think that was the most valuable use of it, where he effectively became the sacrificial lamb. But I still would have preferred a Tom Kench, just me. I'll stop rambling.
Such a nitpicker.
Yeah, I am a little...
They get the win.
They do get the win.
They land so many clutch hooks. That was a game of hooks, if we're honest. We look back, like Shay hooked so many people, got so many leads for H2K. At the same time, Hylissang, he whiffed a couple, but when it counted in those late game team fights, that cannon never touched that Twitch.
Yep. And now we have Fnatic atop of Group A with 3-0, and we have UOL atop of Group B with 3-0 as well. So both the groups shaping up very nicely. Excited for next week, which will be the final week of within group play, and then we get cross group.
Yeah, right now we know who's the best in each group.
Yeah.
Now we got to find out who's the best in Europe, who can actually go toe-to-toe in so many of these different circumstances.
H2K, H2K VG2, 2 more of the heavy macro teams versus Fnatic and UOL. Like, there's a lot of exciting matchups to come.
I'm so ready for Fnatic versus Unicorns of Love. Let's be honest, that is going to be just an absolutely insane matchup.
It's going to be a bloodbath. I mean, we had, I think it was 23 kills to 18 in that one. A lot of kills.
Yeah, definitely a lot of kills. Well, Unicorns of Love got an impressive win against H2K. Let's send it over to Pyra, who is ready with the Unicorns of Love bot lane and the birthday.